Ms. Margarita Moran Floirendo, President of the CCP, Dr. Jaime Laya, the new Chairman of the Board, members of the Board of Trustees, the Board of Judges, fellow awardees, fellow artists, Alice Reyes, National Artist for Boogie Woogie. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, back in 1985, I was accidentally employed at the CCP. I had been in a voluntary basis assisting Ray Albano, the museum director, in setting up the retrospective of graphic works by Ofelia Helveson Tequi at the main gallery when Ray suddenly died of pulmonary complications. Ms. Casilag asked me to take over the project and subsequently hired me to take Ray's position as museum director. The next year, the EDSA revolution erupted. It was February. At that time, I was in New York on a grant from the International Media Studies Foundation. I had directed Tony Perez's Biyaheng Timog, or A Small Matter of Sacrifice, which received a positive review in the New York Times. Then the upheaval in Manila happened. A new government was established with Cory Aquino as the new president of the country. Nick Tiongson was appointed as the new artistic director of the CCP. I got a call from Nick asking me to come home ASAP to resume my job as museum director, but with a peculiar request. Could I set up a new theater company, a new resident company? He said he wanted to start from scratch since the old theater company of Rolando Dino was closing shop. In short, I came home from my grant with a new mandate. That was how Tanghalang Pilipino was born. Those were heady, breathtaking days, a time for new beginnings, a period for conceptualizing the future of Philippine theater via the CCP. I must thank many people who volunteered their time and talent to organize the company. Foremost among them are Jose Claro Tesoro, Bienvenido Noriega, Paul Dumol, Dennis Faustino, Badong Bernal, Chay Bautista Page, Jojo Casim, Mon Puno, Madeline Nicolas, Mario O'Hara, Lalin Samson, Edgar Alegre, Frank Rivera, Cherry Bong Edrelin, and many, many more. Our first production was Dalagang Bukid, which featured Noemi Manican Gomez. With her exceptionally fine nightingale voice, she soared us to success. They should seriously consider giving her the National Artist Award for propagating the Tagalog zarzuela, participating in many subsequent productions. During that epoch, she was literally heir or heiress to Atang de la Rama as zarzuela queen. I was artistic director for 16 years. I left 20 years ago due to petty politics. I have never looked back. But today, so many wonderful memories are gushing from my heart and mind. I thank Badong Bernal, God rest his soul, for all the costumes and sets that he enthusiastically designed for our theater seasons. When I was farming out design assignments due to Badong's particularly hectic schedule with Ballet Philippines, I was told by Manny Diaz that Badong felt slighted. I had to withdraw invitations to designers and immediately offered him the forthcoming production. Badong wanted to design dramas. It stimulated his poetic sensibilities. I guess he was tired of doing so many tutus and leotards that he always relished discussing concepts with us and working out or translating metaphors into concrete sets. He was a real creative partner. Thank you, Badong. Also a big thank you to Nick Tiongson, who insisted that we revive all theater forms like the zarzuela and the comedia or moro-moro. He was the impetus that brought back our perspective for Filipino thespic tradition. Thank you to Bing Rojas, Ren Garcia, and Tony Boy Kawalco for the support. During my stint as artistic director, Tanghalang went international, touring Canada, Japan, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and Paris, France. Our first tour was Canada, courtesy of Dr. June de Villa, who brought us to perform Paglipas ng Dilim in Toronto, Calgary, Montreal, and Halifax. He used his personal money to subsidize and sponsor our tour. My immense gratitude goes to Yuki Hata of the Japan Foundation for inviting El Filibusterismo to tour 7 cities in Japan. The following year, she asked us back. This time we toured Noli and Fili, both musicals composed by Mr. Cipriano Ryan Cayabyab. I hear he's now a national artist. Thank you to the Bunkamura Foundation, particularly Uzuhiko Tanaka and his assistant Hayashi-san, for inviting me to direct Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet in Tokyo. Badong designed gorgeous sets and costumes. It was an experience of a lifetime getting to work with a completely Japanese cast and production crew. Thank you to Shoko Matsumoto for her splendid work as light designer. She eventually lived in Manila and worked on many productions, sharing her expertise in light design. In 1994, spearheaded by Ambassador Olivier Gosseau, we were invited to perform in Paris at the Théâtre du Rond-Point, the theater of Jean-Louis Barrault and the Venerable Madeleine Renaud. We brought 2 productions, a comedia, Orosman at Safira by Francisco Balagtas, brilliantly directed by Jonas Sebastian, and a contemporary play, Kalansiao, written by René Villanueva and directed by a guest French director, Robert Cantarella. This was part of the Fête Philippine in celebration of the discovery by a team of professional French sea explorers discovering a whole sunken galleon in the ocean, complete with its loot of gold and Chinese merchandise. All to be exhibited for the first time in Paris. It was an opportunity for the company to showcase Philippine cultural heritage. Thank you, Tess Frances, for coordinating the whole project. And now back to the future. Recently, an actor of ours who started his career with Tanghalang won the Volpi Cup at the recently concluded Venice Film Festival. John Arcilla won the Best Actor Award for his movie On the Job, directed by Eric Mati. In his speech, he acknowledged me as his mentor. Thank you, John, for validating my work in training you to be an actor. You don't know what a huge victory it is for you. I told him that the award elevated him to the pantheon of cinematic gods like Marcello Mastroianni, Toshiro Mifune, Burt Lancaster, Alec Guinness, and Sean Penn. And John quickly added, feeling guapo, Brad Pitt. So I quipped back, now they have to make you artistic director of Tanghalang Pilipino. Oh boy, John gulped, dithered, and stammered, and coughed. He hyperventilated. Seriously, he was worse than Colin Firth in the King's Speech. Nabulol ng katakot-takot. After much protest, I told him, "Chill out, John. Can't you take a joke? You think Nanding will step down in your favor? You only have my thoughtful wishes. Nanding has the backing of Don Antonio Cojuangco. Talo ka na dyan, Lodi." Apparently, training actors has been my special achievement in Tanghalang. It hasn't been easy, truth to tell, for actors are a needy lot, and they want constant reassurance all the time, soliciting praise, you know, ego massage. I did nothing of that. Kuripot sa puri, bigay na bigay sa pagpupuna. But the pintas always came with alternative choices, alternative suggestions. I made sure I provoked them to think clearly about their choices and what they had, and that they had choices, to strategize the shape and form of the drama, to know exactly where the climax should occur. But that's talking shop. I don't think the general public will be much interested. So back to memories, reminiscences, and champagne wishes. Thank you to the many writers and directors and choreographers and composers who contributed to the artistic wealth of the company. Thank you to the voice teachers, especially Andrea Veneracion, movement trainers, speech therapists, and literature and philosophy teachers who gave themselves wholeheartedly despite meager honoraria. Thank you to the choreographers Edna Vida, Agnes Locsin, Tony Fabella, and fellow awardee Nonoy Froilan, who should be artistic of Ballet Philippines, but alas, they now have a social climber as chair who has opted for an unknown Russian. Let me take a moment to remember those who have passed ahead. Oni De Leon died 10 years ago in his early 50s. Oni was special. He had a photographic memory that enabled him to remember kilometric lines, word perfect. He was a genuine asset to the company, especially when we adopted the rotation of plays within the week of performances. He easily went from one play to another, smoothly changing from principal actor to support and back. Versatile was the operative word. He was also the company's official translator of numerous scripts, and a damn good translator he was. He was a real asset that we all treasure in memory and in prayer. Mario O'Hara died a few years back. He is much missed. We go a long way back during our days in PETA at the Fort Santiago. Mario helped shape the Actors Company by allowing himself to be cast with them and treating everybody with respect as peers, not as apprentices. When I directed Julio Cesar, I cast him as Brutus, with John Arcilla, Totoy na Totoy pa nun, as Julio Cesar. Everyone learned a lot from Mario by sheer example and dedication. Mila Estedilla was our costume mistress from the very start. She was our super wardrobe manager who harnessed costureras to deliver on time, worked under badong like a magic trumpo, purchasing materials in Divisoria, farming out tasks to neighbors, and getting the job done efficiently and with little fuss. Mila also managed the costume room like it was the New York Public Library. Everything, including props, neatly categorized and stacked in order. It was like she came from a Harry Potter movie to relieve us of stress and worry. She went on to become a barangay kapitana in her neighborhood in Tayuban, which I suspect stressed her out to no end. Sadly, she died of cancer. I want to thank the actors who shared their talent with the company. I can't mention all of you, but many have received awards and have elevated the profession with your discipline and taste. A few have already become legend in the industry, like Charmaine and Noni Buencamino. One has been called the Queen of Indie Films, Irma Adlawan, who, truth to tell, is an incredibly fine stage actress, but who is forced to accept contravida roles to earn a living. Another fine actress is Sherry Lara Alingod, who has won awards in the movies for being a contravida, like in Crying Ladies. The others are Gary Lim, Alan Paule, Alan Bautista, Herbie Go, Olga Natividad, George De Jesus, and Joey Paras, whom I texted to ask if he had any awards. He instantly sent me pages from Wikipedia, so please Google his name instead. If he had his way, Ricky Davao would easily have dedicated his life to the stage, a natural on the boards with a great voice. But coming from a showbiz family, he is constrained to eke out a living by doing soaps and now directing them. Thank you to Lou Veloso and to Rene Requiestas, both comic geniuses. All of you have done your part, and kudos to you all. I share this award with you. The spine of any successful theater company, aside from the actors, is the playwright or dramatist. I have always believed that the script is nothing unless performed. Thank you to Nick Joaquin for choosing us to premiere his last play, Pinoy Agonistes, and granting us permission numerous times to stage your classic, Portrait of the Artist as Filipino. You were one generous gentleman of the old school. Thank you to Bian Lumpera for writing the libretto of Noli Me Tangere and translating for me Shakespeare's Julius Caesar and King Lear, and providing us with a new translation of Nick's portrait. Let me randomly recall a few authors who wrote for the company: Tony Perez, Paul Dumol, Maluha Cobb, Jose Butch Dalizay, Wilfrido Maria Guerrero, Bienvenido Noriega, Rene Villanueva, Dennis Marasigan, Joey Miroy, Orlando Nadres, Frank Rivera, George De Jesus, sending you bouquets of gratitude for your contribution and collaboration with the company. Thank you, Chris Millado, for inviting me back to the CCP to direct at your new black box. Is it called Soco Theater? We are restaging the play of Tony Perez, Hoy Boyet, collaged with a play by Calderon de la Barca, Ang Dakilang Teatro ng Daigdig, translated by George De Jesus. Two verse plays that provoke questions about ourselves, our identity, and our faith today. I hope to see you in November. I mentioned in passing the leaders of PETA, CB Garucho, Maribel Lagarda, Brenda Fajardo, for their continued support. Thank you, Cecile Guidote, for making us all think outside the box. I hesitate to elaborate on you, knowing so many people in this institution become hostile at the mere mention of your name. But your contribution to Philippine theater is rock solid and incontestable. Try to be less eccentric. People will warm up to you. I will end this panegyric for the Philippine theater by singling out two names, Tony Perez and Paul Dumol. We have been comrades in arms since our high school days at the Ateneo. Both of you have trusted me to premiere your plays. Your output has been a harvest of thought-provoking dramas destined as classics of Philippine dramatic literature. I greet you with the warmest affection and gratitude. Paul Dumol emailed me that he could not come tonight because of a seminar he has to attend. But in congratulating me, he added that he hopes, quote, that we can have a last collaboration before body and soul fall asunder, unquote. Well, Paul, We are now fossils to the new generation. Let us keep hoping God gives us the grace and opportunity to do theater again, despite the very disconcerting reality that audience for serious theater has dwindled to a pitiable number. We're also in the pre-departure area of our life. Maria COVID is still around, causing havoc among vaxxers and anti-vaxxers. The CCP is closing shop for 3 to 5 years, and there's a new circus in town, and it promises to be no less than a Cirque du Soleil. Friends, fellow artists, fellow awardees, I am delighted to accept this award from the Cultural Center of the Philippines. Maraming salamat po.